Biden claims that he wants to fund the police. He says, well, take a listen to it yourself.
We should all agree the answer is not to defund the police. It's to fund the police. Fund them. Fund them. Fund them with resources and training.
The answer is not to defund the police, it's to fund the police. Here's my problem with this. So in and of itself, that line is correct, right? Obviously. Obviously, the answer is not to defund the police. Obviously, the answer is to fund the police to make sure we have police officers and resources to keep our community safe. The problem, and this was my initial reaction when I saw Republicans stand up and clap for this, is he's lying. Biden is trying right now in the lead up to the 2022 midterm elections that are going to take place in November, just a few months away. He's trying to appeal to the center right. He's trying to appeal to independents. He's trying to appeal to people who might have voted for him and become disgruntled, or even people who voted for Trump, but he wants to try to get their vote in 2022 on behalf of the Democrats in Congress. He's pandering. He's lying. He's pretending to support a position that historically he has opposed, rabidly opposed. He's trying to dilute the radicalism of the Democratic Party, and we shouldn't let him because it's an absolute lie. I mean, Biden himself was one of the biggest propagators of the Ferguson narrative, the Black Lives Matter narrative, this lie that police officers in our country are institutionally, systemically racist, people who target Black people based on the color of their skin and then shoot them indiscriminately and are never held accountable. That is the lie of the Black Lives Matter movement. And it's pernicious. It's evil. It's demonstrably untrue. And Biden has been one of the biggest propagators of this narrative. Now, this lie that underpins the Black Lives Matter movement has been the justification for the Black Lives Matter riots, the looting, the assaults on cops, the arson that we have experienced in cities all across the country. It's also the underpinning of the defund the police movement, which is not just a slogan chanted by rioters. This is an actual policy that city councils across the country have implemented, taking money away from police officers, which renders police officers less able to do their jobs, which results in our communities being less safe. This is the high crime problem that anybody who lives in any kind of urban center in our country experiences on a daily basis. You live in San Francisco, how many times has your car been broken into? How many homeless people have you encountered? How many needles from drug use do you see on your sidewalk? You live in Milwaukee, has your business been burned down? Has your business been looted? Is it actually safe to run a drugstore? In California, CVS and Walgreens have closed down different stores that they run. Why? Because people are just walking out of the store with loot. Prosecutors across the country, this is the other part, progressive prosecutors funded by George Soros across the country are declining to prosecute crime. Some of it's violent crime. You know, we read about the Manhattan district attorney who said that he wasn't going to prosecute crimes unless it was violent. And even if a gun was involved, unless there was an actual threat, a realistic threat to the person's life, you know, as the victim of an armed assault or an armed robbery, he wasn't going to prosecute. He wasn't going to prosecute the perpetrator. Or there's a threshold, a monetary threshold. Well, if you only steal $900 worth of goods, then you're not going to get prosecuted. So the criminals make sure that they steal less than $900 worth of goods. This is the problem. This is the reason that we are suffering from high crime in our countries, because of the false narrative of the Black Lives Matter movement has led to a defund the police movement, which has created an environment where criminals know they can get away with crimes. You couple that with progressive prosecutors funded by George Soros and supported by the Democratic Party as a whole, and you get a high crime problem. So Biden cannot stand up there and tell you, try to tell centrists or independents across the country that the answer is not to defund the police. The answer is to fund the police. When he has done exactly the opposite. He is an integral part of the problem that we're facing, the dangerous problem that we're facing. This is one of the biggest lies that I've ever heard.